I decided to continue this manga for this new reading log. Of course, this is called In the Clear Moonlit Dust Volume 2 is because I have to return it soon. So in this volume, now Ichimura wanted to Yoi to go out with him as an experiment, and so Yoi decided to say yes. But the next day, she came out with a lot of rules because it's just seemed too fast, or I don't know if she's really ready. Her rules was pretty funny, where like no physical touches. If anybody started liking somebody, they have to break the contract. Yeah, I think that's really cute that she's trying to make a little contract between this little date of experiment. After that whole ordeal, Yoi was actually the one who asked Ichimura on a date first, and so I was kind of shocked too, because usually Ichimura is always making the first move, but this time it is Yoi. Now on their first date, it was sort of random. They went to a shop trying on clothes. I think they went to a amusement park, so that was kind of cute, but at the same time it was a little bit intense. It's because Ichimura, I feel like all he does is stare at Yoi, and then Yoi, of course, feels so awkward. I think Yoi is a little bit more upfront when it comes to personal things, because later on she kind of like asked Ichimura, like, do you even like me? You never really like told me that you like me. Is this even love? And she kind of like took off, and of course Ichimura like was kind of like thinking everything that she said, whether or not if he really feels what Yoi said. Until this point, Ichimura doesn't really know how he feels. All he knows is that he just likes staring at Yoi, and that Ichimura wants Yoi all to himself. And so there's a lot of uncertainties and unknown when it comes to his feeling. But I believe Yoi is starting to feel something towards Ichimura. But other than that, it's a really, cute romance. It's still unclear about this too. And of course, Ichimura being Ichimura, and Yoi, I think Yoi is just more curious toward this experiment when it comes to dating and love, of course. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to read more. I'm gonna be honest, this manhwa was something else. Very explicit, very extremely explicit. This is a BL. This one's called Love is an Illusion. Now in this society, you got all different type of individuality. You got betas, omegas, and alpha. Alpha is supposed to be the highest, strongest, more dominant. Let's just say these titles as an individual reflects who you're gonna end up with. Now, as an example, alpha usually don't like omegas. They usually stick to alpha. I believe, not sure if beta is the lowest, but our main character, him, he found out that he's actually an omega. He thought he was alpha all along because he met an alpha. Our main character's name is actually Haesung. Now, Haesung does end up living with Dojin, our other main character, because he actually owed Dojin for what he did. Basically, he went to a scam and then he punched somebody, and so Dojin had to pay for a compensation. And Haesung didn't mind at first, but he actually has this thing called heat cycle, where he kind of craves something and he goes out of control, and it's not really great for Dojin because Dojin doesn't really like Omega, but somehow something happened and now Dojin is into Haesung even though he's Omega. It is because he's actually a musician, and whenever these two something happen, he gets very inspired, and that is why he really wants Haesung to stay. Maybe for his music or maybe for something else. Now, these two has a very complicated, issue towards each other, because Haesung just feel like he's being treated unfairly, or Dojin just seem very too controlling. But all I can say, this BL is just very explicit. A lot of things happen. If you are planning to read this, just be aware, because there's just a lot of explicit scene. And if this is your first time reading a BL, yeah, again, just be aware. But at the same time, I would not recommend this if you haven't not read any BL, because it might be a lot, just letting you know. But other than that, would I continue reading this? Maybe, but it's not really a priority, because I was really taken aback how much so much explicit happen here in just the first volume, which I was super surprised. It's an interesting take about the society where you have an alpha, a beta, and a mega. And so I might just give this another chance and see where the story goes. I won't able to, of course, show the pages because there's just too many explicit scenes. Also, I forgot to add this, but now in this society, it doesn't matter who you're with, girl to girl, boy, boy and girl. Now, apparently, anybody can get pregnant, and since Haesung and Dojin have their moments together time to time, Haesung, I think he might be pregnant. Yep. And so at the end of the volume, it did left a big surprise. And I'm sure Haesung and Dojin is gonna be totally in shock, and then this story is gonna definitely take a different route, and I cannot wait because it's probably gonna happen. And so I'm actually looking forward now, even though at first I was kind of unsure. So I just finished reading Goku Rakugai online at Shonen Jump. I read 3 and 4. Was it 3 and 4 or was it 2 and 3? No, sorry, it was 2 and 3. 4 hasn't been released in English yet, but it's available online. But I just wanted to read until 3 volumes because that's where current volumes out here in the US. And so Gakuragai is actually a place where Alma and Mista work. They basically kill Manga. Manga are like monster, almost like demons and yokai. Now, in these 2 volumes, we find out who are behind the Manga and especially the killing around the area. Now, the main culprit, I think he is the main reason why there's Manga. He's either experimenting on human, turning them to Manga. And there's also a hybrid Manga because Alma, our main character, he's a hybrid. He's half human and half Manga. Now, there's not much a lot of history or information about Alma. He could have been an experimental and maybe he got out or something and Miss Tao found him. Miss Tao is his partner. We get to find out that Alma, he doesn't really turn to Manga unless Miss Tao is there. Now, he's actually learning to fight and turn to Manga without Miss Tao's help because in order to protect himself or anybody, he needs to learn to control his blood and also transitioning to Manga. In this 2 volume as well, it was kind of sad because Alma met a girl named Kanata. She's actually a hybrid as well. I think she got away from her master, which is the leader of the Manga named Yomi. She's been trying to control her hunger because actually Manga eat another humans, and I guess that's their source of food. And this was sad because Alma and Kanata had to fight, and Kanata didn't want to like live as long, she's with Alma because she doesn't want to go back to Yomi. And so it was a sad scene because Alma had no choice but, put her down. And of course, Yomi being the leader of the Manga didn't care anything for her. And so, yeah, that was pretty sad because Alma, met a friend for the first time in a long time. And Kanata had a great connection with Alma because all her life she always eat by herself. Her parents weren't around. Now, I guess she was turned to Manga because of Yomi. We definitely meet new characters in these volumes. As I mentioned, Yomi and Kanata. We also have Ryu and Nei. They also work for the same organization with Tao and Alma. Their headquarters is actually underground. Now, Ryu had to train Alma because Alma doesn't have a lot of experience yet. As I mentioned before, he needs to learn to transition to Manga without Miss Tao, so this way he can fight on his own. Other than that, it's a really good story, a lot of action. Of course, there's some mystery here and there. It's quite funny. I've been enjoying it so far. I did some research. I'm not sure if volume 4 in English is going to come out soon. Volume 4 is out in Japanese and the chapters are available at Shonen Jump app. So that's where I've been reading. And of course, this time around, it did end up with a cliffhanger because Miss Tao apparently has been looking for a certain person. And then when she went back to the shrine that they had a little battle against the Manga, she saw someone and it looks like it might be the person that she's been looking for. And so that's a big cliffhanger. Here's another manga that I had for a while. This one's called Skip and Loafer I read volume 1 and 2. This was a really nice story, almost like a slice of life. Now we have our main character named Mitsumi. She comes from the countryside and now she's living in Tokyo in the city for the first time. It was pretty new to her. Now, on her first day of school, a lot of things happen, but she does meet Shima, the guy in the front cover. He's very nice. He's been helping her how to get to school because it's her first time. Many things happened on her first day. She was late, she was lost. She's actually a top student, so she had to make a speech on the first day. Of course, she was nervous. However, the students were very impressed with her speech. She had no notes. Everything was flowing well until when she was leaving off stage, something happened. She was very sort of upset and kind of shocked that happened because she had this imagination that everything was going to go well, but it didn't. Even though that happened, I don't think I want to say it because it's sort of disgusting. When she was in class, nobody would really want to talk to her at first until Shima started talking to her, and since then other students wanted to talk to her and even other clubs wanted her to join their club. And so far it's been great for her. She's making new friends, but there's one girl that seems a little bit conniving. She's trying to use Mitsumi to get close to Shima, but overall she's been kind of like have a change of attitude. She's been sort of nice to Mitsumi, helping her. But yeah, I like all the characters here. They're all like, different, kind of unique, and there's just something interesting about each of them. As Mitsumi gets closer to Shima, same goes for Shima. It seems like their friendship is growing stronger and maybe more than that, because at the end of volume 2, it seems like Mitsumi may be feeling something to Shima, because I guess Shima is just very extra nice, and then even Shima feels sort of the same because he said, quote unquote, "This is the first time I've ever been real friends with a girl." And so that's very something special that Mitsumi of course heard, and now Mitsumi is just kind of like, going gaga, but you know what I mean. I think we all know where this friendship is going, but for now, I think it's a nice friendship between Shima and Mitsumi. And yeah, I really like the story so far. I don't know why it's taking me so long to read this, and so I'm looking forward to read more of Skip and Loafer. Yeah, sorry guys, it's dark again. Anywho, here's some insight from the first volume. Really nice illustration. I think it's gonna be interesting where all the characters are heading in this story. So far, there's no really mean girl but she's have a change of heart. Everyone is so nice so far. And so yeah, we'll see where the story goes. Okay, I just finished reading this manga called Secrets of the Silent Witch. I believe this is based off the light novel, and so this is the manga. I read volume 1. So I'm not sure if I like the story yet, but our main character named Monica, she's actually one of the 7 sages in the kingdom, but they call her Silent Witch because she actually lives outside the kingdom on her own. I believe she likes the peace and quiet, and she seemed very timid and shy at the same time. Now, one of her, I guess, acquaintance or colleague visited her because he has a special request for her. This special request actually came from the Majesty, and so her colleague named Louise decided to give it to Monica. So the special request is actually to guard and to look after the prince, the second prince, because in this kingdom there's 3 princes but with 3 different mothers. And of course she's not very excited, but I think it's gonna be good for her to be out of her bubble, and now she has to pretend to be a student in this academy, so this way she can look after the second prince. Now this academy is full of wealthy nobility, very high class students, and so they sort of act kind of like snobbish. On her first day, of course, it was awkward, and she actually requests to live at an attic because that's what she prefer. And she sort of has a friend. Her name is, I forgot her name. It's something with the lady. She actually witnessed when Monica in the beginning of the story fight off some dragons, and so she's actually excited to meet Monica. And Lady Monica also meets another classmate named Lana Colette. However, there's a lot of students been spreading bad rumors about her because her family apparently bought off to become a baron, a countess, and yeah, which really sucks. So she's been sort of helping Lady Monica's appearance because she's into fashion. And during her little excursion around the school, she bumps into these two boys, and then she found out later is that one of the two boys is actually the second prince, and he is in the student council and he's the president. And then one day she was called to the student council to question about her whereabouts, since there's been some incidents happening around the school. It seems like the prince is being targeted, and that is why she's there in the first place. But they don't know that she's actually there to guard the second prince. And in order to prove her innocence, now they want her to help them find the culprit. And now she's kind of like not super excited, but at the same time, I think it'll also be a chance to get closer to the prince. In my opinion, the story is okay so far. I'm gonna give it another chance. I think there'll be a lot of potential because I'm curious about the prince as well as the character. Maybe, you know, her character will get more interesting. But other than that, yeah, looking forward to read more of this manga. I think the first page is colored. That's her cat named Nero. Now this cat can transfer into human, so that was a big surprise. The illustration's really nice. I forgot to mention this, but Lady Monica, since she's one of the 7 sages, she's a mage. She's actually a prodigy. Now, as a mage, they usually use chants, but when it comes to Monica, she doesn't have to use any chant. Like, she just used her magic right away. And I believe the students here also have power. I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah, I am actually looking forward, even though the story is okay. So sorry about the bad lighting. It looks so yellow. But I just finished reading My Girlfriend's Child, volume 1, 2, 3. Okay, this story is sad, but you know what? I think it's gonna be a good read. Now we have our main character named Takara and Sachi. I think they're either 16 or 17. As you can see, the title. Now Sachi is pregnant. She found out like after 8 weeks because she's actually 8 weeks pregnant. Now there's been a debate whether to get an abortion or keep it. Now Takara's mom is against it. However, when it comes to Sachi's mom, she's very supportive, except the brother. Sachi's brother is also against it because, you know, she's still young and he thinks that she's not really ready. But, you know, it is Sachi's decision until the very end. And so, of course, she's gonna keep it, even though you got a couple of people who's against it. Of course, having a baby, it's gonna have a lot of challenges, and especially having the finance for it. And so Takara's been getting a job, and then Sachi's been writing all the plans that they need to prepare, especially when the baby is born. Aside from that, Sachi is also worried about school, about having to tell her classmates and what the school will think about. But I think that's probably her least worry because right now she has to prepare herself for this pregnancy, and hopefully, you know, hopefully Tucker's mom will come around as well as her brother. With this pregnancy, Sachi has a lot of things to prepare: the hospital, the doctor, and all the things that she needs to prepare for this newborn. I'm definitely enjoying this read, even though there's some sad part, and of course you got your conflicts here and there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to read more of this My Girlfriend's Child. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys some insight on maybe volume 1. Yeah. Okay, let's skip the first one because the first few pages there's some explicit scene, but it's not that major. And so the illustration is very simple. I like it. And yeah, it was really tough at first for her to decide. She wasn't sure if her mom was against it because I think she misunderstood her mom. But I'm glad that her mom is very respectful and kind and supported. And of course, Starka is also gonna be there for her. I'm glad for that too. And so yeah. This never happened to me before, but I actually read volume 6 when I'm supposed to be reading volume 2. No wonder the story didn't make sense to me at first. And then there was like a bunch of new characters that I haven't heard from the story. So this is Arya the masterpiece. Now that makes sense. Well, I don't know if I should go through volume 6, but volume 6 was pretty simple, and it just talks about the life of being an Andine, a journeyman for now, because it looks like I just spoiled myself. It looks like our main character named Akari hasn't made into an Andine, because I think there's only one more volume after this. So maybe the next volume she'll become an Undine, but for now she's just a journeyman, still in training. And I also learned that there's other type of Undine out there, or journeyman, where they take certain customers in certain area, and then these customers are just standing up because of the gravity of the planet Aqua. So that was an interesting read, but other than that, it was a very simple reading. We get to know more about other characters, as well as their ambition and dreams, what they want to do being an Undine, and what's their next step becoming an Undine. And yeah, I cannot believe I read volume 6 when I'm supposed to be reading volume 2. Alright, I just finished this manga called My Isekai Life. I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world. Of course, it's an isekai. We get our main character named Yuji. He's actually a office worker who works a lot, and then one day he got invited to a game, but then this game became a reality in another world. And so at first he thought he might be in a dream. He tried a few things to wake up, but he wasn't able to do that, and I think he realized this could be not a dream. And the next step was to find food and how to survive. And so he went to the closest town he could find, and he realized he needs to be in an adventure to earn money here and there. And well, before all that, he actually had to fight monster in the forest, and he brought one of them so he can sell off so he can get money. And then he was able to use that money to enter the exam and become an adventurer. So this story is very similar with other isekai. You got the adventure guild, and then he has this special power that he never realized. And then what's interesting is that, of course, he has this screen that will tell his, HP, MP, and what type of magic he can use. And then during the exam, it was quite funny because in his exam paper, he was writing a bunch of stuff that they didn't understand. And he did prove to them that he is powerful and he has power, because at first they thought he was just a tamer, and they believe tamer don't usually have magic, but of course usually has a lot of magic that they don't understand. And at the same time, Yuji actually have all this slime that he tamed before, and so the slimes are very helpful, and he can use so many things with the slime. But yeah, during the exam, he proved everybody that he's not just a tamer, he can use magic. And it was quite funny because the proctor of the exam was completely shocked. And of course, he passed all the tests. However, he decided to keep going in order to get a higher ranking. And so the volume ended at a forest where they were camping. And I guess we'll find out what this final exam is going to be. And so, yeah, it's a actually interesting isekai story. I like it. There's a lot of quirkiness. It's quite funny. And yeah, I'm looking forward to read more of My Isekai Life. And so here's some insight from the first page. That's Yuji. This is like his life before entering the new world. And that was the invitation entering the new world. But yeah, I like it. Nice illustration. It's very straightforward, not very confusing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to read more of this manga, and I'm so glad I picked this up from a secondhand store. We're ending this reading log with this adorable story called Papa Sits at Track Volume 1. Oh, what a cute story. We got two dog owners named Chiharu's. She owns a Rottweiler, and we got Kiyotaka. He owns a Pomeranian. Sorry. And one day, these two dog owners bump into each other because I think they live around the same area. And it's just so cute because he thinks that, oh, that's a really big dog. And then she thinks, oh, that's a really small dog. So they had like a different views when it comes to, different size of dogs. And the more they bump into each other, they became friends. And it's cool that their dogs get along so well because, a big dog and a small dog. However, Chiharu's dad is actually a dog trainer, and that is why she's able to train her dog properly and has a really good behavior. And Kiyotaka, he's actually a firefighter, and so he's able to handle a small dog and carefully hold the small dog. While Chiharu, she wasn't sure if she wanted to become a dog trainer like her dad, but she ended up being a teacher. And of course, we can't forget about the romance. There's going to be some romance because now these two start giving each other gifts for helping one another. I think the gift is like the start of their romance because now it's showing that they may have some affection toward another. I think it's just adorable. You know, you think this is all about dogs, but no, of course there's going to be romance. And so I really like the story. It's just cute, so easy, so fun. And this is the second dog manga that I've read, and I really starting to get into, like, you know, dog manga, cat manga. So this manga has 2 volumes so far. I'm not quite sure if this information is correct. I think volume 3 comes out next year, August, which is kind of really far away. And I don't know how many volumes are out there in Japanese. And yeah, so I'm not sure if this is new, but okay, let me just show you guys some insight from the first volume. Even though this story seems very short, I still like it. I don't mind if the pace is very slow. It's almost like a slice of life. Really cute dogs, of course. And I think the romance is going to be another thing that I'm looking forward, because, you know, these two has something similarities. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to read more of this manga. Alright, gonna end this reading log. Now this week I realized I read a lot of romance and of course new title. I really like what I read this week, to be honest. Nothing was disappointing. Some were sad, some were funny, and some were a bit of a shock. And of course, an oops, I read Aria volume 6 when it was supposed to be volume 2. But you know what? This volume didn't have anything big happen. It was more like, you know, slice of life and slow pace, which I didn't mind. And as always, I'm looking forward to read more of this manga. And so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.